Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and we are going to hop right into it today. We have another fresh new guest interview for you guys, and it is none other than Nick Carlson from Dawson Manufacturing and Mulchmate. How are you doing this afternoon, Nick?
I'm doing great, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely, it's an honor to have you on here, and something we've been trying to do for a little while. We had a few rescheduled times, but I'm glad we got it on the schedule and got to do it today. And I'm going to be really respectful of your time today. I want to bring the most value that we can for everybody out there listening. That's the point of the show is to feed other people's ears, and I know when I listen to podcasts, I want to hear some entertainment, but I want to hear the meat and potatoes a lot, and I think that's what we're going to get into a lot today. Well, now that I can take a breath, intro's over and all that stuff, let's just get into it, man. I want to hear. I honestly don't know that I've heard the exact full story of Nick Carlson. I know that you had you grew a lawn care business, right, and then turned to landscaping or whatever. Just tell us as much or as little as you want to tell us of that business, and then kind of how you've transitioned into where you're at today.
Sure. So long story short, I was a 15-year-old kid, wanted to, not necessarily have my own business per se, but just go out and make a few bucks. And so my father sat down with me one day and said, "Man, why don't you just go cut some grass like every other, young boy does?"
Yeah.
I had no problem doing it. I have no problem working with my hands, and just a summer mowing grass gig that ultimately turned into a little bit more and a little more. I also raced stock cars as a hobby, and the landscaping kind of was started to fund the racing that I was hoping would be my career one day.
Yeah.
And that didn't turn out to be, which is okay. It's just kind of the way life takes you. But
yeah.
I learned a lot of lessons along the way. And when 2007 hit and the economy crashed, I basically had a fork in the road. Do I continue chasing this racing dream that just wasn't looking like it was going to pan out? I was watching all my buddies bag groceries, all the other drivers that I knew. Or do I take this little landscape company and actually try to do something with it? And I guess at that point I had it for about 6 or 7 years. And I guess I was in my early 20s and just said, you know what, I'm going to double down on this landscape deal and let's see how far I can take it. And we took it all the way up to a multi-million-dollar company. I don't know how many crews we had, 9 crews, something like that. At this point, I don't remember.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter. But the point was we made a bunch of money. We helped a lot of people, fed a lot of people, beautified our area like crazy. We did, hardscapes, to irrigation, to low voltage lighting, to mowing, you name it. I had a lot of fun, enjoyed it. But one day, kind of transitioning to Mulchmate and how we ended up getting here was, honestly, I had an argument with one of my Hispanic working guys, and he basically told me I can't run my business without him. And I'm not the type of guy to take that real lightly.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm going to automate you out of a job. And so I fired him and basically said, how do I get mulch out of the back of a truck without this guy, Jose?
Mm-hmm.
How is that done? And so, a lot of guys take mini skids and they try, well, back in my day, mini skids weren't even a thing. I remember watching them come out. People basically laughed them off the market.
Wow.
It took years, basically a decade for the mini skid to take off. So we tried scooping with a mini skid. We tried lifting the beds up and dumping it and tarping it and trash cans and wheelbarrows and you name it. I've tried it.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately figured out that there even rented bark blowers and ultimately figured out that there's a better way. And with my racing background and fabrication abilities in that world, along with understanding landscaping, because I knew every intricate little detail of it, little things like pouring mulch onto a curb and using it as a ramp to get the wheelbarrow up, something like that. I know every little detail. And so you marry all that together, all those years of work, and you end up where I'm at now. So it's been a lot of fun.
Man, that's a crazy story. I think there's a ton to unpack there. That's the very short version of a career. How long? I guess now, like, how long have you been in the industry in total? What is it? 25 years? I mean, I don't know. How old are you?
Oh my gosh. Math. Maybe call it a solid 22 years.
Okay, yeah. So pushing 25 years in the industry. That's crazy. You've seen a lot of things. I'm a lawn maintenance owner. I would do mulch and stuff, and something that got me. Well, we're down south. We don't do mulch enough to justify a mulch mate per se. Great product. I back it 100%. I would love to get everybody down here on mulch, and I would love to have a mulch mate. But I implemented the cart mate, and that's literally one of the best things I've ever gotten for my business. I think that I don't know. Let's get into Dawson Manufacturing then. So what does Dawson do? Is Dawson and mulch mate like same in one? How does that whole process work?
So Dawson Manufacturing is the company, right? It's the umbrella of all the different products, and of course the mates are. So it's automate. Right. And so that's why everything's a mate.
Yeah.
So basically what happened was we came out with Mulchmate, and trade shows, everybody would laugh me out of a trade show and say, we'll see if you're here next year.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that. I don't like the negativity. And what it does, it fuels me. And so basically I came back swinging every year with a new product. And all I did was took the mulching process and I said, okay, well, we fixed unloading the truck. Well, what's the next thing in the process that really stinks and it's really strenuous and hard on your body? And so the cart mate came to me because the wheel barreling just became insanely difficult after you make unloading the truck really easy. And so the original idea was I wanted to make like a mechanism that went on the front of a mower that you dump the mulch in and had a conveyor system and it spit it out for you. But I have a bunch of rule of thumbs that I kind of follow, and simplicity is one of them. I want something that's robust, that can handle the beating. And so we took this probably $7,500 retail idea of, conveying mulch out of this thing that could only hold so much, and it was very specific to a certain mower, and just dumbed it all the way down to this little cart that I could put in front of us, in front of the mower, because if it's behind as a pivot point, and if you back up any trailer, backing up a little tiny trailer is inherently
it's nearly impossible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the bigger the trailer gets, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that option with these mowers.
Yeah.
And I saw the mowers sitting for such a long period of time in the spring and in the fall. I said, why don't we put the thing to work? Because it's basically a power plant. Is all it is.
Yeah.
And so I had a conversation with Ed Wright about the stand-on mower and how he came up with or his dad, Bill, came up with the stand-on mower, and he just said, it's the field of view standing up is a lot easier. And I said, okay, well, why don't I just take that perspective and say, set the cart beam behind you, put it in front of you. And so literally laying in bed one day, I figured out how to make the articulating knuckle work. And I just used a race car component to make it all work. And that's how the cart mate came to be. And then things like the hitch mate. I know it seems really simple, but there are things you do need to tow with your mower. And these stand-on mowers, you can't tow with them.
Yeah.
And so I literally just made a hitch mate for myself for one of my mowers. And it was on one of the mowers when we unveiled the cart mate at GIE in 2019. And everybody flipped out. Like, what the heck is this thing? So I use that to tow aerators and, rollers and whatever. They said, well, I want that. And so then that just snowballed out of control into a product that currently it's making 6 figures a year.
Yeah.
Just for us, that little tiny product. So that's fantastic. And then it turned into, well, Mulchmate's great, but I don't have a truck that size. So I made a pickup truck version, the truck mate.
Yeah.
Right. And all I was doing was just trying to listen to the industry. And they said, I love this, but like you kind of said, I love Mulchmate, but this doesn't work for me. So I just consistently listen to what everyone has to say. And I try to create valuable products that, fix a need that no one's looking at. So like we have a product coming out here really soon. It's actually sitting next to me here, and it's going to be very inexpensive, but really easy to implement across the board. And I think it's going to help, hundreds of thousands of landscapers here really soon.
Wow. That's awesome, man. It just sounds to me like you're an entrepreneur who knows what entrepreneurs do, and that is fix problems. That's what you do in business. So, well, So 10 minutes here, we've figured out what the product is. I think everybody that's listening to the show knows what Mulchmate is, knows what Cartmate is. Y'all have burst onto the scene the last 2 or 3 years in the industry, and I don't see you going anywhere anytime soon because, like we just said, you're fixing problems, and that's what we do. That's what we do as business owners. So I kind of want to transition. We talk a lot of green industry on the show a lot, but when we have guests like you on who have grown a company to financially, I mean, you've taken it to where you're financially stable for sure, and you're generating real income, real profit. That's what we all want to do, whether it's creating a product or cutting grass or spreading mulch. We all want to make profit at the end of the day. So I want to take advantage of that and talk a little bit about the business aspects of Dawson Manufacturing, even if you want to talk about your landscapes company a little bit, because I think that's a lot of the guys that we have listened to the show, a lot of our demographic are younger in business, not necessarily younger in age, but younger in business. So they're in those crucial years. I'm in those years right now. I'm years 3 to 5. I'm in year 4. So those 3 to 5 right there where business is good, but we're like trying to get over the hump. We're trying to get really, really profitable, trying to not stop reinvesting, but get to the point where we can start taking money out for ourselves and spend time with your family and getting to enjoy your income. So what are some things that you think you have done, whether it be the landscape company or with Dawson, along the way to help in the beginning stages? And like you said, I know people shut you down. Like you had a crazy amounts of perseverance and just willpower to push through. People get that in mowing all the time. Like people of your family will say, you're not going to be able to do anything with that. You can't cut grass for a living. And like, so how do you respond to that? How do you take that negativity and turn it into positivity and turn into a company where you're now financially free and working harder every day to just keep solving problems?
So I'm a mental junkie. Training my brain. I am constantly trying to put things in my mind into perspective that makes more sense. So just how you speak to yourself, number one, will help you get through your day. For instance, where we're located, we're near an airport in Baltimore called BWI, is the airport, and there's a bike trail that goes around it. And my head of production has been biking with me around this path here recently, and he's just starting, and he gets really frustrated when he has to slow down or a big hill's coming. And I keep telling him the big hill is what builds your strength, not going downhill. So he's looking at this big hill going, oh God, I don't want to go up this hill. I said, stop looking at it that way. Start looking at it as like, that hill is going to make me stronger. That hill is going to make me the better man I need to be, because getting up this hill is actually quite easy compared to a lot of the problems we all face every single day.
Yeah.
And so how you speak to yourself is incredibly important. Taking a second and evaluating, what is the actual goal of what you're doing? So you ever seen the little mazes in the back of magazines, like when you're a kid?
Yeah.
And you have a start point, you have an end point, and it's like this big maze, right? Where does everybody start? Everybody starts at the starting line, right? Well, that's never where I started. I always started at the finish line and worked my way backwards, always. And if you don't have a clear goal, basic idea of where you want to be, you're basically getting up every day and walk around in a dark room. So try to develop, everybody's like, oh, your 5-year plan. I know it's true, but when I started my business, I knew that I wanted to build it to a point that I could sell it. So I never named my company, and this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers. It's my opinion, so take it as you will, but I never named my landscape company Nick Carlson's Lawn Care.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Because it doesn't, you're basically tying the business to you. You are the business, and you're never going to be able to step away from that. Some people can, but it's rare, right? It's a good practice to not make the business centered around you as much as you want it to be. You want I own a business. Well, it's not about that. It's about providing a service to your customer in an easy fashion that they can easily get a hold of you, easily get a service provided, and easily pay a bill.
Yep.
Easy. And so you have to understand how to create that roadmap for your customers, for your employees, for yourself, for your vendors. However you can do that and simplify it, that's how you need to do that. I feel like I just jumped around there, but those are really important parts.
Yeah, no,
they're starting out.
Yeah, they're all very crucial. You say you're a mind freak when you come to and I've heard, was it Caleb Allman's podcast that you were on? I don't remember. Was it when, I think it was when they had You know what I'm talking about. You sitting there shaking your head when you went into all that.
Yeah.
Take that 45 minutes and turn it into a 5-minute thing here of your brain, just the way you think and the way you kind of, even down to reading people and selling jobs and things like that. That's something that when we're talking to guys who are young in business, that's something that you need to know like immediately, in my opinion, because like that's something that if you don't get that figured out, you're never going to go anywhere.
Yeah. So I did a lot of, so first, never had any college experience. I've never been to college. I'm a self-taught person.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books. I have a learning disability. I'm very dyslexic. So first off, there's no excuses in my world, period. So don't try really hard not to lie to yourself and say, oh, I'm trying as hard as I can, because I promise you, you're not.
You're not, yeah.
There's always another level, right? So that's first and foremost. The second thing is when I was on with Caleb, my goal with that podcast, and if you haven't gone to that podcast and listened to it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
He is a very smart individual. His wife is a very smart individual.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt a sense of pressure. Normally I don't feel that, but with him and her, I felt like I better bring my A game, and I better bring something different that his podcast has never seen. So I kind of cracked my armor and showed them how incredibly, in layman's terms, how psycho I can be at analyzing things.
Yeah.
I'm an analyzer. I study color charts. I study how a person moves their hands, how they move their eyes, what color their ears turn when they say something, how they tilt their head, how they cross their legs, how much bounce do they have in their step, what speed do they walk at, how often do they look at your eyes, how often are they looking away, the timing of when they're looking away, look at their fingernails, look at how they cross their feet, look at how they're dressed. You know, is it clean clothing? Is it old clothing? Is it, for instance, my glasses, right? So my glasses are an orange tint with an orange logo.
Mm-hmm.
All that is based upon the Mulchmate, persona. And so I put this together last year for GIE because just a little Oakley logo on the side, I wanted to project, I'm not trying to project perfection. I'm trying to project I am put together.
Yeah.
I have every little nook and cranny of my being is completely together. For instance, last year, I felt like there was one part of my life that was out of control, and it was my weight. Through the Mulchmate journey and getting it off the ground, it took every ounce of me to get it to go, and I lost track of my health. And I ended up at 350 pounds at 6'3". I'm a big guy relatively normally, but at 350, I was enormous. And I dropped 125 pounds in 9 months and never set foot in the gym. And one of the reasons I did it, there's a lot of reasons I did it, but one of them was when I step on that floor at GIE last year in 2021, I've had things written about us that we are leading the industry in innovation and we're this and we're that. And I really appreciate the accolades, but would you trust me if I step foot on the floor at 350 pounds?
Mm.
Or would you trust me even more if I step foot on that floor at 260? I try to take the excuses away from whoever's looking at me and says, wow, the machine's great, but man, his weight is out of control. And I don't like giving people excuses.
Yeah.
And I went on a journey of taking excuses away from everybody. And that's something you have to do when, you're in business. It's about trust and relationships. And it's not just with your customers, it's with yourself, it's with your wife, it's with your kids, it's with your vendors, your employees. You're selling yourself to everyone. And it's very, very important to have control of yourself. And at the end of the day, I think we're all doing this for what? For what reason? To have a good life, to provide for our families. And yeah, I know we all want to have fun, but a lot of times winning is more fun than fun is fun.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had this thing where I just go running around here just going, I'm here to win, period. It's my win, my trophy. I'm going after it. And everyone has their own win. And I think that's really important to have. So that's kind of how I went about that whole podcast with Caleb. And
yeah,
It's psycho mentality.
Yeah, it's cool to me. It's very interesting. Do you think you would be where you are today had you not studied all of those things? And when I say would be where you are today, like because you're talking about like I know you're sitting here analyzing me the way I'm moving right now, and so like when you're in a meeting promoting your product to somebody, has it helped you like transition conversation or like transition like maybe you were about to make your pitch but you could tell from them that they weren't ready yet, they weren't ready to accept it, so maybe you
Absolutely.
talk about something they want to talk about? Because the reason I like this and it's so interesting to me is I just finished How to Win Friends and Influence People, that book, and I'm sure you've read that book. If you haven't, I encourage you to read it, but I know you have. Yeah, like anybody out there, that should be required reading in grade school. Like you should have to read that in high school, in my opinion. But totally changed my mindset on things. But like it just, I don't know. How did you go about learning those things? Because that really does interest me, and I think other people out there need to hear about that, about the whole analyzing. Are there books that you've read on that, YouTube videos that you've watched? How have you done that process?
It came down to one simple thing. I'd have problems in my landscape business, and I'm a problem solver.
Yeah.
And the only way I could get to the goals that I had was to win someone over, right? And convince them to trust me, or convince them that you have a problem. I'm here. You hired me or called me because you need me to fix it, right? You can't fix it. That's why you called me. And so I would take ownership of that. Or if my guys or myself made a problem, created a problem that should have never happened because of lack of attention or whatever, I have a saying that's heroes are born in bad times. Problems create heroes if you're willing to step up to the plate. And so I never saw a problem as a problem. I saw a problem as an opportunity. And so I would go to these customers and I would learn. I would just say, give me what you got. What's your problem? Right. And they would just puke out their problems because they don't want them anymore. And so I would take them on and learn how to decipher through them to create a solution. And so every day, if you're looking at life as, oh, there's so many problems, you're going to have more problems. But if you wake up every day and you go, I'm going to find a solution to every single problem, life just becomes inherently easier immediately.
Yeah.
Just with a simple decision.
Yeah.
And so that's how I went about it. I just simply tested with my customers and just flat out said, I'm not going to live a life of anxiety. I'm going to live a life of, to put it frankly, the BS stops with me. It goes no further. I am the end of that road, period.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's a total mindset shift. And I feel like so many people out there need that. They need to totally change the way they think about things, the way they think about their business, their life, everything in general. And like you're saying, you have a start and a finish line. Like start at the finish line and work your way backwards, because find out where you're going, where you need to be, and then figure out how to get there. That's good. That's really good stuff. You mentioned burnout very quick. You didn't mention burnout. You mentioned working harder about a few minutes ago. You went over. You said there's always a next level. You can always work harder. You can always be better. How have you? I don't know what the word would be for that. How have you handled there's got to be a fine line between, and I don't know. Maybe there's not a fine line between, like, you have a family life, you're growing a company, you're growing a business. Like, how do you handle that? Because you always want to be better, you always want to work harder, but you don't want to have burnout at the same time. Like, you want to keep a fire and a passion for what you're doing. You want your family to keep a fire and a passion for what you're doing. But if you're not there at night to tuck your kids in bed, then how are they going to get behind you, which is going to, like, in the end, affect you and your business. And I think everybody can take something from that, because whatever it is you're doing, if you're missing your family time or whatever it is for you that considers like you to have, that could cause you to have burnout, quote unquote burnout, how have you handled that along the way of working harder, being better, but still growing a company and having good family time at the same time?
It's all about scheduling. So I don't know if I'm rare. I just know who I am. Yeah. I don't get burnout because I keep my vision so clear, and I keep my drive so it's not passion. I'm not a fan of the word passion, kind of like I'm not a fan of the word inventor. To me, it's an obsession. And when you're obsessed over something, there's nothing that will stop you. Literally nothing. For instance, I got COVID last year, and it kicked my hiney before I lost all the weight because I was so overweight. And I just took a bunch of work home and just was welding and working at home while I had it. That's not because I'm a hard worker. That's because I'm obsessed with this overall vision that I have in my mind that if I told you what it was, you'd probably think I was completely bat, you know what, crazy.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to burnout, it's not even an option in my head. When you say the word burnout, I'm like, wow, I haven't said that word, God, forever. Because I know where I'm going. I understand that it's going to take me some time to get there. But dang, man, I've spent so long perfecting my skills that I feel like I'm cheating at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so for the younger me, the 25 or 20-year-old me, what I realized then was I see it as a tool chest, right? And when I was 20, all I wanted was a little Craftsman toolbox with 2 drawers, and all my skills were the tools I put in it, right? Now I knew I wanted a huge Snap-on toolbox that cost $50,000, right? You know, not physically, but more, mentally in my skill sets. And once you got about halfway to having this huge toolbox, all these tools in it, all these different skills that you've learned, what you'll run into is you'll learn that your hands will only make you so much money, and you're going to get tired. And the one thing that I love is fear. Fear, I believe, is one of the best things on the planet. And what I got scared of was skin cancer and destroying my body, which I had completely done being a landscaper, because I worked in the field for about 14 years and destroyed myself physically. And I got scared to the point where I was like, man, I'm only in my 20s and I feel this way. This isn't good.
Yeah.
And so what I had to do was just take control of my day-to-day operations. I read a book called The E-Myth.
Good book.
If you've not read it, please do. If you have, read it again, because I've read it like 5 times at this point. And basically, I just sat myself down. I said, what am I willing to tolerate versus not tolerate? And when it came to burnout, I just said, well, find something that you're great at and what wears you out that you're not good at. Find something that can do for you. And with the internet today, there's so many ways to skin this cat. Where when I was growing up, when I was younger, I'd have to go to Home Depot or the bookstore and get a magazine to figure out how to properly cut grass.
Yeah.
The internet wasn't a thing. Google wasn't a thing. Cell phones weren't a thing. I'd come home and, hit my answering machine button and try to play back, and I couldn't understand the person as I'm writing the numbers down and have to call them back later. It was a disaster. So the advantages that you guys have today are crazy. And to put it all into perspective, right? When I started Mulchmate, by the time I got to selling Mulchmates, it's only been, I think it's going on 4 years of actually like sales, and we're already over a $10 million company.
Crazy.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have been in business for almost the same amount of time as far as your current business and my current business.
Yeah.
But I'm at 10 million.
Yeah.
And I have the same amount of fingers and toes that you do.
Yeah.
It all comes down to building that tool chest and becoming psycho obsessed over a goal. And when it comes with your kids, you had mentioned your kids, how do you balance that? You just set like parameters. Like I told you before we had this meeting, I said 5 o'clock's my deadline.
Yep.
Period. Like, and I made that clear over and over and over with you over these emails. And that's because I'm going to go home to my kids.
Yeah.
And I look at my kids as my oasis, right? I don't go home and go, oh God, my kids. I actually go home and I ramp up for my kids and say, I'm going to pour daddy into them, and I'm just going to be daddy. But then when I'm done with them, I'm going to put in a little extra time, right? Into work or whatever it is. But I'm not going to kill myself because I have found people to do jobs that, I can't do. And I'm able to balance it, but it took me time to get here. And it's going to take you time to get here. Things like, do you answer your phone or do you have an answering service?
I do, but that's something I've thought about for a while. Hit on that.
Right. So how do you answer the phone when you're on a tractor?
Yeah.
And the reason
it's not efficient is what it is.
It's not efficient. And you got to think about the path of your customer. When they call you and you don't answer, they're just going to call someone else.
Yep.
Because all they want is whatever task they have on their plate, they want it off their plate.
100%.
Right? So spend the $200 a month on the answering service. Go set that up now. I did that, and it works.
Really?
Little things like that, you don't need to take on an employee. There's virtual stuff all over the place. You can have literally QuickBooks. Yeah. We pay here at Dawson Manufacturing. I pay QuickBooks to balance my books every single month. It's $400.
Yeah.
It's not. It costs. That's nothing compared to what an employee would cost.
Yeah.
So the services are out there. You just got to find your pain points and eliminate them.
Yeah, and you just touched on something I think needs to be talked about more is the virtual assistants and things out there that can help you, because like you're saying, answering a phone, that what you said about that, if you don't answer your phone, your customer's just going to call somebody else. One thing that I've started doing is I've started looking at, like, when I'm a consumer, when I'm looking for something, when I'm looking for a service, how do I act? And I think about how do I act as a business owner? Because I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we busted a window out, and so I had to get a glass company out there, and it needed to be done like the next day, and it was on a time crunch and all that. So I was calling, and it's like you said, as soon as somebody didn't answer, hung up the phone, called the next company. The first company that answered the phone is the one that I ended up using. And
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you have to look at it from a consumer point of view, because I know I'll catch myself as the business owner. I'll be like, well, I'll just call them back in 30 minutes, and if they're a good customer, then it'll work. But that's that's such a bad way to run a business.
It's an excuse.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You're trying. I did it, so I'm completely guilty. So I can talk as much smack as I want. I would be like, well, it's my business. I'll run it the way I want.
Exactly.
It's not. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Well, it doesn't work if you want to get to where you are today.
Correct.
That's the thing is, it can work if you want to stay mediocre and stay average, but
I don't like average.
Exactly. Like average is, it's kind of like the Bible talks about. You don't want to be a lukewarm Christian. Like, don't be average. Like, either be all in or all out. And that's something that I think that you're doing, and your presence in the green industry is taking it to the next level, whether you know it or not. And it's something that me and, I don't remember who I was having this conversation with the other day. I think it was maybe Alex Kirby with Trifecta. We were talking about just how much further that our industry needs to go and to elevate the industry. Like, if you pull up your product alone, if you pull up with, I don't even know how much a mulch mate costs, but if you pull up with that on the back of your truck or the back of your trailer, you automatically elevate the industry, because people look at that and they say, okay, there's $100,000 between truck, trailer, and mulch mate sitting there. Like, it's not Joe Blow with 2 wheelbarrows and a pitchfork in the back of a 6x12 trailer. So it's I don't know. It's just crazy to me how something so simple is just so complex, but it's not that complex. You just have to have the effort and the hard work behind it, like you've done.
It's if I may,
say whatever, man.
To that. So I kind of have a beef with the word hard work, right? So there's hard work, and then there's being smart. Yeah. And a lot of guys in this industry, no offense to everybody that's probably going to be offended by this, but a lot of guys in this industry get to this point because they're really good workers. And then they say, well, if, my boss can do it, I can do it. And then they jump in, and they're great technicians. They're great grass cutters, if you will. Yeah. But as far as business, there's business owner operators, and then there's businessmen that can grow this thing, right, into a viable corporation, not just business. There's a major difference in that, and you have to have the foresight and be able to see into the future, literally fortune tell right into the future of how your business is going to go, how it's going to grow, how it's going to get there. And you're going to have so many naysayers along the way. You literally, I call it head trash. You just have to be able to dump your head trash and just go, nope, I don't even hear it. I've got blinders on. I know exactly where I'm going. Mm-hmm. There is no plan B, and that's just it. And I'm going to make minor adjustments as I go, because that's going to happen. It's kind of like when you drive a car down the road. Do you hold the wheel perfectly straight the entire time? Or are you constantly doing little inputs? Yeah. Right? You're constantly doing little inputs. That's how business goes. And this industry is so barbaric in its way of thinking. Yeah. For instance, I was on the phone this morning with a young man here in Maryland that he picks my brain all the time, and it's perfectly fine. And he's like, I'm thinking about buying this switch and go system. And I'm like, well, what's your problem? And he goes, well, I have this old, van that's breaking down constantly. I said, well, didn't I tell you back in the spring not to buy that van because you're going to spend more time fixing it than it's going to be worth? Yep. And that time you're spending fixing it, yeah, it was cheaper in the beginning, but that time you're wasting fixing it, you could have been selling. And so I have a saying where don't worry about the pennies, meaning buying the cheapest used equipment worry about the dollars, meaning the time. For instance, in my business, I would buy a brand new truck because it was $450 a month versus me having that truck in the shop every single weekend working on it.
And
when I could have
arguably
been
spending almost the same amount of money.
Well, that's the basics.
Yeah.
What about the money that you can generate with the time
Yeah.
that you basically just bought yourself?
Yep.
And that's what most of these guys don't see. They look at a Mulchmate. Mulchmate right now retails for $32,909. That's what retail price is on a Mulchmate. If you divide that up and depreciate the asset over 5 years, like any good corporation would do, you're looking at about $6,000 a year. You tell me on what planet you're going to find an employee that's going to shovel millions of pounds of mulch or rock or sand or whatever for $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's going to show up every Monday
morning. Never get tired.
Never get tired. Never back talk.
Never complain.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So everybody gets so bogged down about what's right in front of their face. They don't see the end goal, the end picture, the end result of all their decisions. They just go, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go work hard. I'm going to go shovel this dirt. Dude, you're looking 2 inches in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
You need to wake up and look a little bit further down the road.
I think the difference there is what you said a minute ago of the difference between business owner operator and business men or women who like take the business and can grow it and scale it and not even, I don't know, I hate the word scale because not even just scale it. You don't have to be some massive like multi-crew company. You just make your business really efficient. If you want to stay small, but just do it the best way you can and build it, like you're saying, into a sellable business. Maybe it's only $500,000 a year, but you can sell, like people will want to buy that business. Somebody out there will want to buy that one day.
Absolutely.
And so what do you think maybe one or two key principles is to transition from business owner operator into businessman mindset of, hey, let's grow the top line. Let's grow the sales. Let's grow everything on the back end of the business. Because like without you, the visionary, and without that mind that you have, Mulchmate, Dawson Manufacturing, Cartmate, none of that exists today. None of it gets to the point that it's at. How have you, I mean, because you were business owner operator at some point. So how did you transition? What are some principles you think you should implement along the way?
So my rule of thumb was always to outsell my schedule, right? And so I would sell to the point where I'd have so much work, I would be booked out 3 months.
Wow.
Right. And what that allowed me to do was, my customers got used to it, and I would be honest with them right up front. And if they ever wanted to get moved to the front of the line, one of my tricks was there was a fee they could pay to get to the front of the line. So if they wanted to jump the line, I could make more money.
Yeah.
It's also telling me who's got the money, right? It kind of directs me where I'm going.
Yeah. And
then what also happened was I had so much work booked up that I could literally just, here's what I did. I went out and bought a Ford Focus, brand spanking new. It was like an SEL. It wasn't a very special model. And I basically went to all my crews and I said, stop bothering me. There's got to be a leader. Somebody has to lead this company. And at the time, I think I had 4 employees. I had a landscape crew and one residential crew mowing. And I just said, leave me alone. You need to do your job. I pay you every single day to do this work. If I have to babysit you, I'm going to have to find somebody to replace you. And so I literally stuffed myself in this little Ford Focus with my laptop, and I just focused on sales and focused on sales and focused on sales. And it hurt for a little while. It kicked me in the hiney a little bit. But after 2 months, there was no looking back. I was a business owner running the business, not letting the business run me. And I was constantly working in the business, trying to find efficient ways of flexing its muscles without spending any extra money. Make sense?
Yeah. And let me stop you real quick. You said it kicked your butt in a way. How so? What is that? What struggle did you go through? And is it something that everybody else will go through in that transition period?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, your employees are going to hate you for a second. They're going to be like, what happened? We lost our leader in the field. What happened? Because it's easier to just be told what to do.
Yeah.
It's really easy. You show up to work. All right, boss, what do you want me to do? Go dig that hole. Okay, dig.
Yeah.
And I had to learn a different way to tell them what to do without being there all the time. So what I would do is I would go to the job, like the landscape crew especially. I would go to the job, sit them down with orange paint or tape measures or whatever, and sit them down and go, here's the vision, right? Here's the contract. I wouldn't show any of the pricing, but here's the list of plants. They're going to be delivered today. So things like A lot of guys want to go pick up plants. I for the life of me, I don't understand that. There are delivery services for like $75 that will bring the plants right to you, and you can go. That hour and a half it would take me to get plants, I could literally go sell $5,000 worth of work like that. So I'm worried about pennies when I should be worrying about dollars, right? And so you pick up all these little tricks of basically it's buying time. Everybody says you can't buy time. That's total malarkey. You can buy time. Yeah. I just literally turned over my grass to someone else because I've been cutting it for years now because I needed more time on the weekends with my kids. I bought time. It's that easy.
Yeah.
And so the struggle you'll have is getting your employees to learn this new way, right? It's just like when you go to Napa and they have a brand new computer system and the employees are sitting behind the counter complaining, oh, this new system's terrible. It's normal. It's just human nature. Get used to it. It's never going to change. They will change ultimately if you just lead.
Yeah.
Right. And the big thing after that is you have to sell them the ultimate vision. Well, if I get in the field, you let me go do my job. How would you like bigger bonuses at the end of the year? How would you like to get paid more per hour? How would you like to drive a bigger, nicer truck that you know is not going to break down? You let me go do my job, I'll get you everything you want. And you have to sell. You have to sell no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That means a lot. I don't know. It hits home to me because it's so many things that I need to fix and work on, and I think everybody out there listening probably thinks the same way. One thing that you talk about buying your time, one thing that I think needs to be talked about more is you make better use of your time. Because you sit here and say, you can imagine what you could do with that time, how much you could go sell, how much you could go do more. I think that is what needs to be talked about because Brian Fullerton is the one that I think he's kind of like trademarked this whole like get your groceries delivered. And you can pay to have your groceries delivered if you don't want to go to the grocery store and waste your 2 hours because his theory is if I go waste an hour at the grocery store, by the time I go, get back, unload, all that stuff, you're 2 hours, 3 hours in. He could create a YouTube video. He could create a course. He could do what could he do? But here's the thing is you have to actually make use of your time if you're going to do that. If you're going to pay the $400 a month for your bookkeeping services so you don't have to do it, you can't take a nap during that time. You have to actually be making that time more profitable for you. And so, like, how have you done that? I mean, I don't know, not how have you done it, but was there ever a point where that was hard for you and you had to transition? Maybe not because you seem like you just, like you said, you're obsessed with your vision and where you want to be. But I don't know, what is your take on that?
So I'm going to say an unprofessional race car driver at this point, right? Just a guy that likes racing.
Yeah.
I live and die by the stopwatch, like literally everything.
Yeah.
I'll give you for instance.
Yeah.
Right. So I knew that I wanted to get healthier and I wanted to start working out after I lost all this weight.
Yeah.
So knowing what you want out of life and knowing that you're going to have to do something to go get it, it's not going to be done for you ever. I had to figure out, I want to work out, like I want to lift some weights, but I don't want to spend the time, the 15 minutes to drive to the gym, the 30 or 40 or 50 minutes, hour, whatever in the gym, and another 15 minutes home, and then a shower, and then all that, right? So you have to get really efficient with your time and really think about what time are you willing to give up, but what is your ultimate goal? Again, starting at the finish line and working your way back. So what I did was I said, I'm going to do push-ups every night with my kids, right? So now I'm going to tone my arms, I'm going to tone my chest, and I'm going to do it with my kids on my back. And I'm going to teach them all at the same time while I'm getting healthier. I'm going to teach them how to be healthy. And then I'm going to get toned up and start looking good, right? And so I start looking for these pockets, these windows of time where I can get incrementally better. And what I find is most people try to take on the whole vision all at once, right? It's like, oh, I need to lose 100 pounds. How do I lose 100 pounds? Just stop for a second. All you got to do is start drinking water. Stop drinking everything else. Just drink water.
Yeah.
Take on a manageable chunk of whatever it is you're doing at a time, and it will allow your mind to process it. And then after about 3 weeks of doing whatever it is you're doing and creating a healthy habit, it becomes a natural instinct after 3 weeks. So the whole doing push-ups at night with the kids, once I got, I was used to 5 push-ups a night, and it was 20 a night or whatever it was. Now I'm doing curls and I'm doing sit-ups, and I'm dialing myself in one day at a time, one night at a time, taking on just little bite-sized chunks. Another great example is I like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to books, but I can only handle so much of it. So understanding, your bandwidth in your mind is very critical. In early days, when you're younger, your bandwidth is much smaller. Your mind is a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So just take on a little bit of chunks. Like I'll listen to 1 or 2 podcasts a day from like Ed Milet or Andy Frisella or something. Those are the guys I kind of watch, or Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And then I give it a week and I let it process and marinate.
Yeah.
And then I go back and do it again. Understanding, this is probably my biggest piece of advice of all time, is life has one finish line, and that's death. Until then, there is no finish line. There is no end. It will continue to go until you die.
Yeah.
And you only fail when you quit, right?
Yeah.
I've been out of business 4 times in my life, literally bankruptcy. And I never actually filed for it. I was able to fight out of it because I said, I'm just not going to quit.
Mm.
And everyone has that choice. I am not special.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's good. That's good stuff. As we wrap this thing up, I don't want to hold you too much longer today. I do want to transition to your team, though. The team that you've built at Dawson Manufacturing, your team of back in the landscape company, you had, like you said, 8 crews, 9 crews, however many. You want to automate. That's what you're doing for the industry. You're automating everything. But in automation comes, you have to have a team to do that. You can't do it all by yourself, like you've said. How have you done that over the years? Built a good team around you, built key employees with the right. I know you can't be an easy guy to work for. Like your mentality that you have, the level of high thinking that you bring to the table, and high productivity that you have at the end of the day, it's probably high. So how have you done that along the way? Built a high quality team that can stick with you and see your vision and move forward.
Well, vision, right? It has to be very clear, and you have to be able to project it. It's so important that everyone around you sees what you see. Maybe not how you see it, but the basic overall view of where things are going, right? It's like your marriage. If you don't help project a certain family image, like we're going to live in this style house, we're going to drive these style cars, we want our kids to act and be this way and go to these type of schools, you're letting life happen to you, not taking control of it and making life what you want it, right? So when it comes to employees, I would either go through, like in landscape, depending on the position, what I would do is actually have my guys do the hiring for me. Now, I'm kind of talking more at the end when I had lots of employees.
Yeah.
But towards the beginning, I would simply have to go through a lot of guys and find the ones that were just naturally go-getters.
Yeah.
Right. And they wanted more out of life. Now, you're going to go through a lot of people, and you're going to have to just understand that humans are not, if they're like you, more than likely they're going to work for themselves.
Yeah.
And you have to just keep in mind, you're very special in the sense of when you're running your own business and you're going after it, and you're just like, Nick, I know my vision. I know exactly where I'm going, but I'm just getting started. That's fine. Hang on to that. But you need to make sure that you throttle yourself, because you're expecting everyone to be like you.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that for a very, very long time, where even to this day, I look around, I'm like, why don't people see it this way? And people look at me and they're like, dude, you're like literally one of a kind.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I just see me as me, right? I look in the mirror and it's just this normal blonde hair, blue eyed guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing special. But then I get all these accolades and it's like, okay, yeah, I can see where they see that. You kind of have to step out of the box. But all that is it's not like I'm gifted. It's just a lot of years of a lot of microscopic, really good decisions. So back to what I was saying with, take on what you can handle in your bandwidth. Just get the microscopic decisions right. That's it.
Mm.
And after my 22 years of being in business, if I have enough of those, I'm going to be somewhere a lot better than where I was.
Yeah.
And so managing that is very important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the microscopic decisions, things like that, it just, I don't know. The thing that I think about is this decision going to make me better tomorrow? That's the way I look at things. Is this purchase going to make me a better company tomorrow? Is this use of time, is that going to make me better in 5 years from now? Things like that little micro decisions along the way build up to your decisions now, 25 years in the industry almost. You got a lot of those going right for you. So
can I add something to that?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I love to say, because I deal with a lot of young guys call me, and I don't mind helping again, like I said before, but one of the things I've seen in life from not just business owners or in the landscape industry, but just human beings, period, is this is going to ruffle some feathers, but it's, again, it's my opinion, but
That's
I feel
the
like
good
it's
stuff,
true.
though.
Human beings like to lie to themselves to fit their agenda, not what the actual truth is. It's just like when I was fat, when I was 350, I walk around going, I'll live 5 years less, but at least I'll be happy when I get there, right?
Yeah.
And the reality of it was, I was just lying to myself. I was miserable. And when it comes to business or relationships or whatever, you really have to do a lot of, I call it self-auditing. Truly, honestly, do an audit on yourself on a weekly basis. Am I creating healthy, strong habits every day that microscopically are going to put me where I want to be day in and day out, hour by hour, minute by minute? And if they're not, you need to make a change. Like, for instance, just a simple one, getting up in the morning. I used to not want to get up when I was 15 years old. I didn't want to get up and get started to work until like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry, but you've lost half your morning by then. And I know a lot of people are hearing this, may get up at that time. I'm sorry, but they say early bird gets the worm. Yeah, that's very cliche, but you need to get up and maximize your time. I never drank, I never smoked, I never did drugs because it distracted me from my goal.
Yeah.
And that's why I've stayed out of trouble for so long. If you go case search me, you'll find literally nothing.
Yeah.
It's because I never had time to go screw off. It wasn't important to me.
Yeah.
Winning was more fun than fun was fun. So what do you want? You want to win or you want to go have fun?
That's it, man. That's it right there. That's all. It's just about all that needs to be said. I got one final question for you that we try to ask all of our guests here on the show, and it's just pretty simple, can be complex. It's different sometimes, but it always ends the same way just about. It's just, what is your why?
What is my why? So it is, I want to make a difference. It seems very simple, but every day, every moment, I call it infecting humans around me, because I believe in, if you just simply do the right thing every single moment, every single day, you are literally, I know it's gonna leave the world a better place, blah, blah, blah. Truly actually make a difference. Not try to change the world to make it what you want it to be, but actually help someone with their goals, help someone with what they're working on. Be interested in what they're trying to do. And it could simply just be going to school and passing a test. It could simply be losing weight. It could simply somebody may just need a kind word.
Yeah.
Don't give them anything. Help them with what they're working on, right? Like, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll sit there and talk to you and coach you and cheer you on the entire way. Make a difference and teach a man how to fish. Don't just give him the fish.
That's good, man. I think your why has come through on the podcast. I think you've made a difference. You've infected somebody else out there listening with your thought process and the way you think, and I think it's a very high level of thinking. And I'm very honored to have you on today. Again, thank you for your time. I know we're running close here to the limit, but it's been a true joy getting you on, and I think a lot of people got a lot of value out of this. So where can everybody find you if they do want to connect with you, maybe ask you a question or see a product or anything like that?
So go on to multimateusa.com is our website. I currently still am managing the social media. So multimateusa.com, if you DM us, it's going to be me responding.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking for a social media person right now because it's one of my weaknesses, and I am trying to buy some more time.
Yep.
So I'm currently actively looking for somebody to take over that for me here in the building. So yeah, any of the social medias, the Twitters, the Facebooks, and you can find me on just Facebook at Nick Carlson. It's my personal Facebook page. I don't mind if anybody reaches out there as well. I get like probably 50 friend requests a day.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, it's great that you're like that. You're open. You're willing to help the community. I think we need more of that out there, and I know a lot of people are learning and benefiting from it. So without any further ado, that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much, Nick, for your time today. If you enjoyed the episode, would you leave us a 5-star rating and review? Those really help us and boost us out there so we can continue to grow the community one relationship at a time. Thanks for listening, guys, and we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.